Hello everyone, very good evening to all of you. Jai Hind, Yashraj, always good to see you, particularly the Jai Hind. I always feel motivated the moment I hear that. Meghna, good evening to you. Khushi, Ayush, good to see all of you. Shivam, hi, how are you doing? I hope everybody has gathered a little bit of energy. Good evening, Tanisha, to sort of gear up for a long kind of session. I don't know if we can make it through the full 3 hours, but let's see how long it takes for us to be able to discuss and actually sort of come to a conclusion on 40 plus 50, about 90 questions that I plan to discuss today. Of course, just a gentle reminder before we wrap up and start jumping into the questions. Today is the last day, right? For those of you who are still looking to take a final judgment call, today is the last day to avail of the Republic Day discounts here at Gradeup. And we have the 40% plus 32%, which is the effective 72% discount in light of the 72nd Republic Day celebrations that we had yesterday, right? So let us jump into the questions. I am sure all of you already have a basic idea about vicarious liability. Let me also sort of just turn on the public view so that all of you can see each other's answers as well. Sir, will you be explaining the questions also? I mean, whatever needs explanation, will you explain the questions background as and when needed? I mean, if it's just an absolutely obvious kind of thing, then maybe not, but I mean, you can always tell me if you want an explanation for any question. No, so we will definitely do that. Yeah, shouldn't be a problem, should not be a problem. That's perfectly fine. Okay, please go through the slide. I'll give you 1 minute per slide and then we can move on from there. Okay, daily class. Okay, please let me know on the chat box if you're done. Vicarious liability, anyway, pretty easy one. I'm guessing most of you already have more than enough idea about vicarious liability. Let me just go to the second slide. So essential conditions, right? The servant must have committed the act. The act must have been committed during the course of employment. Okay, perfect. Okay, please continue. Please continue. So this particular slide, of course, focuses on master-servant relationship. We're not talking about principal-agent or anything like that. We're primarily focusing on master-servant, right? Okay. Okay, somehow the YouTube chat is a little glitched for me. Just let me open YouTube separately. Okay, let me just quickly go through the YouTube chat as well. Okay, a lot of good evenings here. Sonam, Nerdy Sparkle, good evening. Jyoti, Aisha, Adarsh, Shatakshi, Ekta, Shubham, Sonu, Snehil. Good to see all of you. Sorry, I'm going to scroll through this a little faster. Sarah says so that 90 would be more like 500. That's why session is for 3 hours. Yes, let's see how it works out. Okay, now I'm at least able to look at both chats. Can move to new window. Perfect. Okay, excellent. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Done, I assume. Let me move on. Big passage this is, so please read carefully. It is okay. While I continue seeing if I'm missing any questions. Good evening, Kirti, Tanushka. Yes, Patare, okay. Sakshi also says done. Perfect, perfect. Good evening, Samruddhi. Good evening, Vani. Nityank, please reply, sir. Nityank, can you just put the question again? Because वो chat में फिर खो जाता है भाई. If that's why if you just put the question, I think it'll be. अच्छा, okay, I found your question. Sir, contract law का भी एक session करवा दो. Okay, I will try my best कि contract law का भी एक session करवा दे. It's not too much of a challenge, of course. I can do a session on contract law as well. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay, noted, Nityank. I will keep that in mind. I will try to do a session on contract law. Is everyone done with this slide? Can I move on to the next one? Good evening, Harshita. Thanks, sir. Most welcome, Nityank bhai. No big deal. Okay, we have come to question number 1 out of 90. So let's see what your guys are going to answer. Ayush asked his driver Ramu to pick his friend from the airport. So not Ramu's friend, no, it will be Ayush's friend. Okay, there are 2 routes to the airport, route A and route B. Okay, this sounds like an introduction to a mathematics question, but let's see. Ayush had asked him to take route A, especially as it was shorter distance wise. Okay, Ramu, however, ज़्यादा ज्ञान था उसका, तो रामू ने क्या किया, took route B. En route, Ramu negligently hit a pedestrian, leading him to be hospitalized. The pedestrian was obviously hospitalized. Is Ayush vicariously liable for Ramu's deed? Okay, so the whole question boils down to the basic idea of vicarious liability if you divide it into 2 parts, right? If there is a particular route that has been instructively provided to the servant, right? If there is an express instruction by the servant, right? Can the servant still decide to take the other route? Is that part of the servant's discretion? It is not part of the servant's discretion. उसकी मर्जी के हिसाब से नहीं हो सकता है, because the master had specifically asked the servant to take route A, which means this is outside the course of employment. Individual अपने ज्ञान से अगर जा रहे हैं, then it is not an acceptable scenario. Therefore, now if we choose between the options, we have option B, C and D, which talk about no. Is Ayush vicarious liable? No, the answer hoga no, because the driver is not a servant. That's wrong, because of course he's a servant. Our problem is not acting within the course of employment. That's the problem, right? Option C, no, as negligence could have been foreseen on the. Okay, so this is challenging the challenging the negligence itself, which is again not the correct answer. Therefore, by elimination also you can derive option Delhi, D for Delhi. No, as Ramu was working out of his course of employment is obviously the correct answer, right? Question number 1. Therefore, option D, Delhi, would be the right answer. Okay, perfect. Let's move on to question number 2. Okay, now Ayush has a friend. Ayush has a friend, Astha. Gayatri, is this session for legal GK or legal passages? Gayatri, it'll be both. We will be discussing both types of questions, right? And if you look at the title of the question of the session, then also Gayatri, you can see, boost your legal GK and legal reasoning for law entrance examination. So we would be doing a lot of questions on legal reasoning first, and then we will move on to do quite a few legal GK questions as well. So about, I think, 40 plus legal reasoning questions and about 50 odd legal GK questions, right? Okay, question number 2. Some answers have already started coming in. Option A कोई बता रहा है. Okay, let's see YouTube पे क्या है. Sarah has a comment saying, but sir, he was working during the course of the time. Oh, okay. So Sarah has an interesting point that in the previous question, driver during work hours में तो था ही, right? But during work hours is not the test of the course of employment. For example, if I'm a lawyer and I'm working for a law firm, during my working hours also, if I like pick up a knife and I go stab someone or pick up a gun and shoot someone, वो है तो office hours में ही, right? है तो office hours में ही, but office hours में जाके गोली मारने का point नहीं हो सकता. So the issue is not timing. The issue is not even place. The issue is what am I doing? Am I doing something that falls within the category of authorized act, right? If it falls within the category of authorized act, then I am liable. कब कर रहा है, कहाँ कर रहा है, वो सबसे कोई मतलब नहीं है. Okay, so I hope that that sort of explains the confusion. Okay, question number 2. I think almost everyone has answered option A, which means I presume A would be the right answer. Let me just take a quick look at it. Ayush asked his friend Astha for a favor to get some groceries for him as he was swamped in work and could not go to the store to buy the same. Astha agreed to do so and went to the store. On the way, she was playing extreme loud music in her car, audible all over the street. Okay, alagi, okay. This noise caused an old lady nearby to go into shock and had to be immediately hospitalized. Okay. Astha gets sued for causing public nuisance. Is Ayush vicariously liable? No, Ayush is definitely not vicariously liable here, neither under the concept of principal agent nor under the concept of master servant. So no के दो option है, option A, option B. Option B is obviously incorrect. No, as Astha herself is not liable. No, she is liable for nuisance. She is liable for nuisance, maybe not for nervous shock, but at least public nuisance या किसी चीज के लिए तो liability हो सकती है. We don't even need to prove all of that because our question is simply about Ayush. So we should not take up the additional burden, the additional responsibility of trying to evaluate कि भाई अलग से आस्था लायबल है या नहीं है, हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है नहीं है, जो भी हो, आयुष तो नहीं ही है, because anyway they don't have a vicarious liability relationship. So question number 2, therefore the answer is obviously option A, right? Question number 2, the answer is definitely option A, which is correct. Okay, let's move on. Question number 3. Ayush had employed a band called Footprints on the Moon. Okay, lovely name, to play on his birthday. The band played a few songs that were not permitted by the original artist. The original artist then sued them, right? Okay. Again, original artist ने केस कर दिया, होगा नहीं होगा? Let me look at a few questions in the meanwhile. Isha has already answered 3A. Okay. Amrit has a question. If a person unintentionally takes away phone of a friend thinking it to be his, is he liable for theft? Amrit, the answer normally would depend on a few factors. So first of all, even if you have unintentionally taken, right? So that means guilty intention nahi hai, dishonest intention nahi hai would be the main argument. But if you unintentionally take my phone, for instance, then you should be having the duty, you should be having the courtesy to return the phone after you realize that it is not your phone. तो तुम्हें लगा तुम्हारा फोन है तो तुमने फोन ले लिया था. अभी तक चोरी नहीं हुई है. It is not theft. But within a reasonable period of time, you should have realized that it is not your phone, correct? And once you realize that it is not your phone, you have the duty to return the phone back to me. तो ये नहीं हो सकता कि मैंने गलती से ले लिया था और उसके बाद रख ही लिया है, तब तो guilty intention is assumed. Then the dishonest intention is assumed, because good intention होता तो फिर तुम फोन आके लौटा देते, रख नहीं लेते. So if you had a reasonable opportunity to return the phone and you have still not returned it, then you are definitely liable. Okay, so looking at this question, is Ayush vicariously liable in this case? No, because this is an independent contractor. This is an independent contractor. Just like if you have a criminal case and you hire Ram Jethmalani to represent you in a court of law, right? Then again, automatically that does not mean Ram Jethmalani has become your employee, no? आप क्या नौकरी नहीं कर रहे हैं, ऐसा हो रहा है that it is a little beyond. That person has his own individual existence, and of course that's an independent contractor. Independent contractor के लिए vicarious liability does not exist. Now copyright infringement is of course a form of tort, so option C is not the correct answer. But the fact that Ayush does not have control, the fact that this band is an independent contractor, therefore option D is a much better reason. Option D therefore should be the correct answer as well, right? Option D, Delhi, for question number 3. Okay, let's go question number 4. Ayush is also now, आस्था से दोस्ती खत्म हो गई, अब अनमोल से दोस्ती है. Okay, या मतलब दोनों से दोस्ती है. Either ways, Ayush is good friends with Anmol. Okay, who works at a bank. Ayush has savings account and blah blah. Okay, let me just also look at the YouTube chat in the meanwhile. Please explain C. Please explain C. Option C in the previous question, you mean? Previous question में option C में तो copyright infringement था ही नहीं ना. Copyright infringement tort ही नहीं है कह रहे हैं. Copyright infringement tort तो है ही है. It is a specific violation under copyright law as well, and it is a tort as well. Yeah, so that should not be a problem. Legal favorite subject है तुम सबका. Okay. Yes. Okay. Question number 4. What is the answer? Okay. YouTube chat looks like they believe the answer is option A. What does the app chat look like? The app chat also looks like the answer is option A. ठीक है, जब सब लोग इतना ज्यादा कन्विंस्ड है तो फिर A ही मार्क करके आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. But let me check just to be completely sure. Ayush is good friends with Anmol who works at a bank. Okay. Ayush has a savings account in the same bank, so he gave her some cash to be credited to his account when they were hanging out at a party. Hanging out, huh? Okay. Anmol, however, misplaced the money. Is the bank vicariously liable? Of course not. Of course not, because Anmol was acting in a personal capacity. Anmol was acting as a friend. Anmol was not acting as an employee of the bank. right? So employee है but employee की capacity में नहीं था, right? Question number 4, option A is perfectly correct. I think pretty much everybody got the right answer, so I don't think I need to waste too much time on this question. Let's move on to the next question. ठीक है, आयुष और रामू की मास्टर सर्वेंट और ड्राइवर की नौकरी वापस शुरू हो चुकी है. Ayush hires Ramu as a driver to drive his car around town as a cab. Perfect. He has instructed the driver to not take the cab to the railway station and deny a ride if any fare comes for the same. अच्छा, railway station नहीं जाना है. Don't go to the railway station. That's the idea. Okay. Ashu was getting late for his train and booked Ramu for the same. Ramu denied him the ride, to which Ashu became really persistent. Ramu, in a fit of anger, threatened to run Ashu with the car, run over that is, if he didn't step out of the way. Okay, मामला थोड़ा serious हो चुका है. Ashu subsided in fear. He later sued Ramu for assault. Is Ayush vicariously liable? Is Ayush vicariously liable in this case? So let me just, this is a tricky question. This is definitely a tricky question. Instruct the driver not to, okay, so you have to refuse. That is also the instruction, right? It is Ayush who has instructed Ramu not to go to the railway station, and if you get a booking, then cancel the booking is also something that deny a ride if any fare comes for the same. Okay, so all of that is there. So which means I believe Ayush should be liable. Ayush should be liable. Is Ayush vicariously liable? I think the answer should be yes. Let me look at the chat before I answer the question. Okay, Gradeup chat, the app chat looks like most of you have marked option B. Okay, very good. What does the YouTube chat looks like? YouTube chat is more inclined towards option A, it seems. No नहीं होगा यहाँ पर, yes होगा. आयुष vicariously liable है. My good friends at YouTube. Assault is a criminal wrong. Can one be vicariously liable for it? Trisha, yes, assault is a criminal wrong, but assault is also a tort, right? It is trespass to person can be divided into two parts, assault and battery. So threatening to use unlawful force against another person is a tort as well. Okay, so looks like the app people have an upper advantage here, have a clear advantage here, and option B, Bombay, is the right answer. Between B and D, I'm pretty sure B has to be the better answer. As Ayush intended to hit Ashu himself as well, वो तो वो relevant ही नहीं है. The relevance is about authorization of function and so on. So question number 5, option B, Bombay, is the right answer. Okay, perfect. Let's move on. We have a few more passages to go. We are done with the first passage and 5 questions. Are we going too slow? 90 questions karne hain. Almost 25 minutes for the first 5 questions. That's an average of 5 minutes. Oh, we're going a little slower than I would prefer, I think. But let's see. Let's go. We have a lot of questions to cover. Contingent contracts under section 31. I'll give you guys 60 seconds and I'm looking at the chat. Once you're done, please post a comment saying done and I can move on to the next slide. Okay, and I'm looking at both YouTube and the app chat. प्रिया, क्लास कब तक चलेगी? जब तक 90 क्वेश्चन खत्म नहीं हो जाते. So I'm pretty sure at least 2-2.5 घंटे तो लग ही जाएंगे. हो सकता है 3 घंटे भी लग ही जाएं. Right? Can we move on? Done? Perfect. Okay, next, wagering agreements. Betting agreements, wagering agreements are not valid. Okay, so क्या है wagering agreement etc. Please go through it. Enforcement of contingent contract. सारा से 4 घंटे लगेंगे सर. अरे 4 लगेंगे तो 4 घंटे लगेंगे, क्या है, करेंगे 4 घंटे आज. आज मैं भी मेंटली प्रिपेयर्ड हूँ. But actually 4 घंटे नहीं लगेंगे, you know, because the towards the end, the last 50 questions, the first 50 questions, for first 40 questions are reasoning. That will obviously take us a little longer, but after that it's just legal GK, no? So it will probably go a little faster than the than the reasoning questions. Ravindra on YouTube says आज सोने का प्लान ही नहीं है. क्लास के बाद भी मूवी देखूंगा, सोना कैंसिल. Okay, done? Yes, perfect. Okay, next slide, everyone. 60 seconds once more. Condition for which the product will be entered into must be future. I should also read the passage. No, ऐसा सिर्फ चैट पढ़ रहे में तो पता चला पैसेज का आइडिया ही नहीं है मेरे को. I should also take some time to read the passage. So guys, just give me 5-10 seconds also in the meanwhile. Okay. So this is based on sir lawyer बन जाएंगे तो अच्छा लगेगा. Yes, पंकु, I think so. हमें लगता है कुछ फास्ट फूड का नाश्ता करके बैठे. नहीं यार जयंत, I will have a slightly late dinner. So ज्योति, yes sir, आपकी क्लास से कर लेंगे. बढ़िया, यही मोटिवेशन तो चाहिए मुझे भी जीवन में. Sir, is this based on the Indian Contract Act? Yes, of course it is based on the Indian Contract Act. Yeah. Done. Perfect. Let us come to question number 6. Question number 6, 85 more to go. Once we start with question number 6, Aditi and Nandini entered into an agreement wherein Aditi would be required to pay a sum of 1000 rupees to Nandini if the Mumbai Indians won the IPL this year. Okay, ठीक है. And conversely, Nandini would have to give 1000 to Aditi if the Mumbai Indians did not win the IPL. Okay. The Mumbai Indians won that season, but Aditi did not pay the promised sum to Nandini. Nandini moved to court. 1000 रुपए के लिए. If any of you go to law school and you go to a good national law university, से 1000 रुपए का बेट कभी शाम को रैंडमली कुछ टाइम पास करते करते अगर लगा भी देना तो 1000 रुपए के लिए court, I don't think any one of you will be going. Be so successful that you don't go to court for 1000 rupees, no? But anyway, okay, it's शायद अलग से सम्मान की भी अगर बात हो गई है तो बात अलग है. It's about self-respect. Nandini moved to court asking for due sum. Will Nandini succeed? Will Nandini succeed? Obviously, the answer is no. Nandini will not succeed, right? Okay, the Gradeup chat looks like they believe the answer is option C, which seems to be the correct answer. What is YouTube saying? Nandini lalchi nikli. ये तो ठीक है. Blah blah. What is the answer? Most of you have done C on the YouTube chat also. I think most of these I keep seeing option C. Sarah, please explain contingent liability. It could be dependent. If something is dependent on a future guaranteed event, right? If it is dependent on a future guaranteed event, then that kind of contract is basically valid. But if it is a future uncertain event, then it is a betting contract. So if I agree to pay you money on the 30th of January after the sun rises in Lucknow, because I live in Lucknow, then that is a valid contract because sunrise to hoga hi. But if I tell you that I'll pay you money if it rains on the 30th of January 2021, then that's an uncertainty which you're never sure about, and that kind of thing is something for which I will not have to pay. I mean, there would be nobody would be liable because that becomes a wagering. That becomes a wagering agreement, right? Anyway, question number 6, the answer is no, as the parties involved do not have any real or legal interest in the uncertain outcome. So if something was dependent on me, right, कि मुझे ही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन करना है, मुझे ही आलू सप्लाई करना है, I only have to, I don't know, take this class, then I will get paid or whatever. So in those kind of situations, of course, I would, sorry, because it is, I have a real and legal interest in the outcome, then it becomes my duty. But if it is an uncertain thing where I am not involved, then I am not going to be liable to pay any kind of compensation. And accordingly, you guys can see that for question number 6, therefore the answer is option C. Okay, Nandini now has bought a new car. Badhiya, life to Nandini ji rahi hai. Okay. Yes, question number 7. Question number 7. How is contingent different from wagering? Gayatri, so wagering agreements are part of contingent agreements. Future event पे dependent है तो contingent है, future uncertain है तो wagering, contingent plus wagering हो जाएगा, right? That's how you need to look at it. You are the नवाब. नहीं भाई धीरज, क्यों ही मुझे नवाब बनना भी नहीं है. I am perfectly okay being Devjyoti Das. Nandini bought a new car that was to be transported to her from another country via the sea route. Okay. Aditi agreed to pay Nandini for half of the purchase price of the car if the shipment does not reach her. The ship gets wrecked in a massive storm on the high seas. So the contract is now impossible to perform, right? Nandini approaches Aditi for her damage, but she refuses to pay, stating it to be a wagering contract based on an uncertain event and henceforth it is void. So is Aditi correct? That is Aditi's claim कि ये एक uncertain event था, is that correct? That is not correct, because it is, you have a, it's something that is directly related, no, direct real interest या legal interest या कुछ होगा, directly related होगा, तब तो वो valid contract में count होता है, right? So in this case therefore the obvious answer should be option C. No, as the future contingency. Is Aditi correct? Aditi is not correct, as the future contingency is directly related to Nandini in this particular case. So question number 7, correct answer is option C. Okay, let's move on. Question number 8. Isha, aren't all insurance contracts like this case? Yes, that's why all those insurance contracts are valid also, no? Insurance contract invalid थोड़ी बोलते हैं हम, valid ही बोलते हैं. It is perfectly valid. Okay. Okay. Yes, what would be the answer here? Aditi and Nandini have agreed that Aditi would pay her a sum of 10,000 if Nandini's son married Harsh's daughter. Okay. However, Harsh's daughter was dead at the time when the contract was made. Then is the contract valid? Yeah, of course not. Of course, the contract is not valid. But what would be the better reason? This is an interesting question. I mean, in terms of choosing the option, this would be an interesting answer. What does the chat box look like? The Gradeup app chat looks like everybody thinks the correct answer is B, Bombay. Okay. And the YouTube chat is somehow dominated by both A and B. Okay. 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 The correct answer here is Bombay. Gradeup people have probably done the right answer. Again, slightly better answer here. Is it a wagering agreement? To be honest, how come so many people on YouTube have done the answer to be A? ये create wagering agreement है ही नहीं ना. This is not a wagering agreement because at the end of the day, it's not dependent on a future contingency because it is an impossible contract in the first place. It is an impossible contract in the first place because the person that whoever Nandini's son was supposed to marry was already dead, right? So the subject matter of the contingent contract does not exist. So if it simply does not exist, by default that means option B, Bombay, would be a better answer, right? Question number 8, B, Bombay is definitely a better answer because wagering की बात नहीं है, बात ही यही है कि subject matter simply does not exist, right? I hope everybody's understood that point here. Okay, question number 9. And guys, peace out, bros and sisters, whatever. Hello Prerna, how are you? YouTube पे तुम लोग तो एकदम झगड़ा ही कर लियो यार. हाथ मिला लो, खत्म करो यार. कहाँ है क्वेश्चन करते हैं ना, अभी भी इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस तो करने हैं. कहाँ वहां लगे हुए हो. Okay, Aditi and Nandini enter into a contract wherein if Nandini leaves Delhi before 1st of October, she will have to pay Aditi a sum of 1000 rupees. Now, is this within the control or not? This is dependent. This is dependent on Nandini. No, Nandini के कंट्रोल में भी है मामला, मिर्जापुर कालीन भैया के कंट्रोल में है, दिल्ली छोड़ के जाना या ना जाना नंदिनी के कंट्रोल में है. करेक्ट. So question number 9, therefore what do we do? Is this a contingent contract? No, it is not a contingent contract as the uncertain event is not independent. ये डबल नेगेटिव टाइप का लिखा हुआ है. Yes, as the uncertain event is dependent भी करेक्ट आंसर होता, but option B, Bombay seems to be the most correct answer. It is not independent in nature. It depends on Nandini. Because it depends on Nandini, therefore it's not a contingency. It is a valid contract. 9 is option Bombay. Let's move to the last question in this passage, and I'll give all of you a minute and I will wait for your answer on the chat box this time. Okay. What is the difference between contingent and wagering? Swastika, I think you've just joined in. Maybe if you just rewind the video, I've specifically spoken about the difference between contingent and wagering. नित्यांक यार ये फिर सर प्लीज रिप्लाई नहीं, मेरा चैट मिक्स हो जाता है यार. तुम्हारा देखो प्रीवियस चैट इज अभी गोली चलनी बाकी है, अब इसमें मैं रिप्लाई क्या करूं? मतलब is there a previous question that I missed? Just put the question again, no, if you want me to answer something. Okay. Simpler. A legal reasoning book I think Gradeup is also trying to come up with something. Otherwise, I mean, after the pattern change, I don't know really how many new pattern books are honestly, if they're available or not available. I mean, I've written my own book. If you really want, I can give you a reference for that. But that's about it. सर आप KGF 2 का वेट कर रहे हैं या नहीं? नहीं यार, KGF 2 का तो वेट नहीं कर रहा. Okay, question number 10. What is the answer? Nandini has made an open declaration in public that anyone consuming her medicine for 10 continuous days would never contract the COVID-19 virus. Otherwise, she will pay 10,000 rupees to such a person. Aditi had bought Nandini's medicine and consumed it for 10 straight days, but she tested positive for COVID-19 virus in the upcoming weeks. Sadly. Aditi henceforth wanted to claim the 10,000 rupees that Nandini had guaranteed. Nandini, however, called it a wagering contract based on an uncertain event. No. In this case, you have made a guarantee. If you have made a guarantee, you would have to pay the money. So all 4 options yes ही हैं क्या? Yes as the person. So option A by default. We don't need to read further. Option A is automatically the correct answer because Aditi was personally invested into the contingency. Her own health, personal health itself was at stake, right? Therefore, the answer is, of course, option A as far as question number 10 is concerned, right? Option A, get well soon, Aditi. Good call, yeah, Isha. Nice. ठीक है. Maintaining our energy levels right into topics of family law and Hindu joint family, coparcenary, Hindu undivided family, and this and that. Take a little bit of extra time because this is a slightly off-road kind of a topic. It's not very popular, but such questions also have come. Questions related to family law have come, but take not 1 minute, but take 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes per slide, but read carefully. This might be a little new for you, compared to what you have been doing, right? So I'll just take a minute. Type of partner. So coparcener means. Coparcener means, is that really the question? Is that really the question? What does coparcener mean? Coparcener पहली लाइन में क्या लिखा है? वही तो लिखा है. Co-partner is a person who acquires interest in the joint family property by birth. So कोई भी एक हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली का मेंबर होगा, right? So a member cannot enforce the partition of property, but a co-partner can enforce the partition of property also क्योंकि उसका interest ही हो चुका है. So there are 3 brothers, right, or 2 brothers and 1 sister, whatever. One of the sons of, let's say, ABC were the three siblings, and A is the son. A's son wants to enforce the coparcenary partition, etc. Then A has a right to do that, and A's son also has a right to do that because by birth, by default, due to the birth itself, that person is a coparcener, right? Done with this slide. HUF का full form, धीरज, Hindu undivided family. HUF का full form is Hindu undivided family. Okay, सेवरेंस और ये ठीक है, वेरी गुड. टेक अनदर मिनट, एटलीस्ट टेक अ मिनट, रीड केयरफुली. इस वाले में मुझे पता है कुछ कंफ्यूजन होगा, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सजेस्टिंग टेक अ फुल प्रॉपर मिनट, 1.5 minutes, and then try to go through this. ओके, डन आई अज्यूम. समझ में आया? मैं चैट बॉक्स तो देख ही रहा था यार पूरे टाइम. सर सर फिर आ गए. अरे अरे अरे, कहाँ ऐसा सर? ओके ओके, एपी भारद्वाज में बहुत सारी चीजें नहीं है, so that should not be that sort of should not be your priority kind of concern, no? So and I think family law ही covered नहीं है, so that's another issue. A partition does not confer title in property in favor of a coparcener. It only enables the coparcener to obtain what is his own in a definite and specific form for purposes of disposition. Right? तो उसको अपना हिस्सा मिल जाएगा, right? और वो उसको बेच सकता है, is the idea. Independent of the wishes of the former co-sharers or co-parceners. It is not necessary that the partition should be affected by a registered partition deed. Even a family arrangement is enough to effectuate a partition among co-parceners and to confer the right to a separate share in property and the enjoyment thereof. The amendment of 2005, however, has conferred equal rights upon daughters. Right, so this is about Hindu Succession Act. Earlier, under Hindu law, because we're talking about Hindu undivided family, under Hindu law, daughters did not have an equal right to property as compared to their brothers. Right, if there is brother and sister, only brother used to have the right to succession and so on. Quite a few questions. Let me just wrap up this part. Of course, after 2005, the daughters also have an equal right to property. Okay. Sir, family law भी पढ़ाया जाएगा क्या? Family law syllabus में है कि नहीं है? है. Family law is definitely part of the syllabus. So if it has not been covered, we will definitely be covering it. Right? So don't worry. It will definitely be covered in the overall syllabus. So at least 1 or 2 classes of family law are scheduled to happen. मैंने तो खुद ही schedule देखा है. I know family law की classes होने वाली है, so don't worry too much about it. Not been covered till now in super. हाँ तो but exam is also more than 5 months away, no? अभी से why panicking so much? We will cover it. Don't worry. Okay, can we come to the questions? Let's go. Question number 11. Ram was the karta of a Hindu undivided family. That means he was in charge basically. उसके पास साइन और ये सब करने का rights था. He invited one of his closest friends, Aditya, to live with them when he was young. Okay, so which means he is not a coparcener, but he's simply a friend. That is he can become a member, but he cannot obviously become a coparcener. But let's see. Aditya lived with the HUF for over 50 years and was seen as a part of the family in the neighborhood. Upon Ram's death due to old age, Aditya claimed his share of the coparcenary property. Is Aditya coparcener of the Hindu undivided family property? Of course, the answer is no, because coparcenary rights कैसे मिलेगा? Coparcenary rights is only by way of birth. So here, of course, the correct answer will be option C. No, as Aditya was not born, wasn't born into the family. Right? Okay, let's move on to question number 12. Okay, this one take your time, and this one I will let you guys solve and wait for your answers. 11 मैंने solve कर दिया, अब आप लोग आंसर बताइए. पिछला वाला भी most of you had done C, as I can see from the chat, at least on the Gradeup forum. What about YouTube chat? YouTube chat was also dominated by option C. So very good, very good. Okay, question number 12. Family law की class, अरे family law, I will be teaching family law. Why so much? Family law की class YouTube पर भी होगी क्या? I am not sure. सोनम I am not sure कि YouTube पर भी पूरी क्लास family law की होगी कि नहीं होगी. बट ऐप पर तो डेफिनेटली होने वाला ही है, बिकॉज सिलेबस में है, आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू बी टीचिंग फैमिली लॉ आफ्टर आई एम डन विथ लॉ ऑफ टॉर्ट्स एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ. मिसलेनियस टॉपिक्स में आई विल बी कवरिंग फैमिली लॉ एज वेल. सो प्रोबेबली अनदर इंसेंटिव की अलग से रिस्क क्या लेना है. वैसे भी 40 plus 32% डिस्काउंट इज गोइंग ऑन, नो, एंड एटलीस्ट बिफोर 12 AM today you can definitely avail of those special discounts for Republic Day celebration, no? So go ahead and do that. क्या आंसर आया? C, not sure. Option C, but not sure. Okay. What is the app saying? App people are mostly saying A and D. Okay. Option C is the YouTube popular answer, I think, between A and D. Okay. Ram was a part of coparcenary in the HUF. Okay, he was a hard-working lawyer and he bought a landed property in Pune out of the money he had earned himself. Okay, Aditya, another part of the coparcenary, wanted to effectuate a partition of his property. He contested that Ram's landed property in Pune should also be included into the family property pool. Will Aditya succeed? No chance. No chance, because I have acquired my own property that does not become part of the coparcenary property. So no के दो option है, A and B. No, as it will be counted as part of the coparcenary property when Ram is part of no as property acquired. Option A, no as the property acquired by a person who also is a coparcenary does not get implicated into the coparcenary डायरेक्टली. अलग से वो अगर इंक्लूड करवा दे तो बात अलग है, राइट? If it's a whole process that has to happen, but without it, automatically my own acquired property will not become part of the coparcenary property, right? Okay. Question number 13. Question number 13. Ram and Aditya were part of a coparcenary. They had a fight amongst each other. Resultantly, Aditya asked for his partition of the coparcenary property. Ram and the rest of the coparcenaries did not want a partition among themselves. So they proposed a partial partition wherein Aditya's shares are determined and the rest remain intact. Okay. Aditya argued that the partition entailed full division of rights and not just a part. Okay, so but partial partition हो सकता है. Partition always can be full partition, of course. Full partition भी हो सकता है, but please remember partial partition is also possible, right? So is Aditya right कि partly हो ही नहीं सकता? No, no, Aditya is wrong, as a coparcenary property may be partitioned in full or in part, right? So question number 13, therefore the correct answer should be option B, Bombay, right? Okay. Question number 14, छोटा question है, इसमें मैं chat box देखता हूं. What is your answer, everyone? What is the answer, everyone? Hamad, why are you saying absolutely wrong for which question? यानी तो पिछले क्वेश्चन में यू आर सेइंग व्हाट बी तो हमने भी तो बी ही किया था. व्हाई आर यू गेटिंग द फीलिंग व्हाट इज एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग? ओके, क्वेश्चन नंबर 14 ग्रेड अप पे सब लोग ऑप्शन सी कह रहे हैं. ओके, लेट्स लुक एट यूट्यूब पे मेजॉरिटी इज सेइंग बी. Okay, so there is a clear difference in the grade up answer or the whatever the students on Gradeup. I heard option A. I was saying, oh, got it. Okay, Hamad. Sorry, I might have missed a message there. I'm so sorry. Okay, question number 14. Yes, Gradeup chat pe almost everyone is saying option C, and here the answer is clearly not C. Okay, let us see question number 14. What is the answer? Ram, being part of a coparcenary, is simply interested in knowing what his share is. He does not want to effectively separate from the family. Can Ram do so? Can he simply find out what is his share? Yes, he can of course find out, right? He can of course find out. May the correct Ram has a right to information. तो ऑप्शन सी नहीं होगा ना, राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन. इज ऐसा कैसा आंसर है? दिस टाइम द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द ग्रेड अप स्टूडेंट्स have probably gotten it wrong. D, Delhi is a better answer. Delhi is a better answer here. Yes का तो correct logic है, that's true, but it's not about right to information. The legal issue when it comes to succession to property is whether partition of property does not entail partition by metes and bounds. So actually partition करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि actual में partition करके हम आपको title दे देंगे. You remember the passage clearly said actual transfer of title need not happen, right? Actual transfer of titles need not happen, right? You can simply find out कि तुम्हारा share क्या है and you can still move on with it by effectuating, simply verifying कि क्या तुम्हारा हिस्सा होता if we were to actually cut it and try to figure it out, right? Okay, couple of questions saying what is metes and bounds. बाउंड्री बनाना, तो बाउंड्री बनाएंगे तो तुम्हारा कितना होगा, तो एक्चुअल बाउंड्री बना के पार्टीशन करने की जरूरत नहीं है, is the whole idea here, right? If you simply want to find out, that also makes perfect sense. So actual partition not required, that's the idea. बाउंड्री बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, हम बता दे रहे हैं ना कि इतना ही है, आपका बात खत्म. वैसे भी आपको भी तो सिर्फ जानना ही था, तो if you simply want to know, we can always pass on the information to you, right? Okay, option D seems to be the most correct answer. What is the answer given? Yeah, D is perfectly correct. Question number 15, last question for this passage. Very short question. Let me simply take a look at this. Sita was born in the coparcenary family in the year 2004. Would Sita be counted as a coparcenary? Simple question है. What is the answer for this one? Not a very difficult question. I'm guessing everybody is going to get it right. But देखते हैं सबने पैसेज केयरफुली पढ़ा या नहीं पढ़ा. What is the answer? 2004. B, A. Okay. So some think it's A, some think it's B. App students seem divided. On YouTube, almost everybody thinks it is option B. Guys, you have probably just missed a little trick here. Let me just take you back to the passage, to this part. Amendment of 2005 happened, right? Amendment happened in 2005, but the amendment does not say that the woman has to be born after 2005. The woman does not have to be born after 2005. If today we are filing the case, and that's how you have to evaluate, right? So therefore Sita is a girl born into the family, so she would have coparcenary rights. If you evaluate in 2006, her woman का right है, so by birth उसको भी right दे दिया गया है, even if she was born before the amendment. Correct answer therefore is option A. यहाँ पर 2004 की वजह से कंफ्यूज नहीं होना है. That's the moral of the story for this particular question. Okay, right? Homosexual marriages, is that what we are discussing in this passage here? Public interest litigation, Hindu Marriage Act, and gender sensitization issues. Okay, I will give you 60 seconds. Please let me know on the chat. Okay. Sir, book का नाम बता दीजिए. Legal reasoning for 2021 इसी टाइप का ही book है यार. I will you can just reach out to me. I'll try to pass on the information. So should be within 3 generations, right? By and large, Vasi, though I don't think that much detail is required for the CLAT exam. Yeah. Okay. Is everybody done? सर कृष्णेंदु सर का कोर्स कहाँ गया? होगा भाई, मतलब आई नॉट श्योर, मैंने चेक नहीं किया है, बट आई थिंक इट शुड बी अवेलेबल. Okay, anyway, let me move on to the next slide. Next, please go through it. $45 days वाला कोर्स कहाँ है? 45 days वाला कोर्स आई थिंक अभी शुरू नहीं हुआ है ना. केडी सर का कोर्स खत्म हो गया. ओह ओके, सो जतिन इज हेल्पिंग यू आउट. कृष्णेंद्र सर वाला कोर्स कहाँ गया? आई थिंक इट्स probably over is what Jatin is saying, though again I am not sure. The simplest way to find out information like this would be to simply call one of the counselors. Okay, so that would be simpler. Done. Can I move on? Done करके कुछ दिख रहा है. No sir, it's finished. Oh, it's finished. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. Chief Justice stated that the aggrieved person should come to the court. Okay, YouTube पे क्या चल रहा है? Done. Tell the best speed for reading. What is the best speed for reading? You know, if you speak to some English faculty members, they would they would probably tell you about words per minute or इस type का test. So, but I'm not sure. I've never really, never really counted the word per minute kind of test. So I think if I can just finish reading the entire newspaper in about 40-45 minutes, I would think my reading speed is pretty good. I mean, I know for a fact my reading speed is pretty good, at least from a law entrance perspective. I think it's pretty good. वैसे भी रैंक 20 तो आ ही गया था किसी तरह से, तो कॉन्फिडेंस उस वजह से भी है ही. Then I was working with one of the top law firms in the country as well, Amarchand Mangaldas. So by default you have to read like 1,000 pages, right? सिर्फ रीडिंग क्या हो तो टाइपिस्ट से कंपटीशन भी हो जाएगा if you work for a for a corporate law firm, particularly in the capital markets team, no? So yeah. All right. So what the judge meant, you should have come to the court directly instead of PIL. That is, you should have filed the case not as a public interest litigation, but rather you should have filed it as the petitioner yourself. Okay. Anyway, let's move to the questions. And we have question number 16 on your screen. Gayatri says, how much time should it take to read 3 newspapers? It should take infinite time, because you should not be reading 3 newspapers. Why would you need to read 3 newspapers? For the CLAT exam, choose any one newspaper between the Hindu and the Indian Express and just read that thoroughly. You don't really need to read 3 newspapers. Which NLU did you go to? I went to HNLU, Isha, Hidayatullah National University. I also got through NLS Bangalore and I had a rank 20 in 2006 entrance. But I mean, I had to drop a year if I wanted to join NLS, and I really did not want to. So I stayed back at HNLU, continued, because first year मेरा तब तक खत्म भी हो गया था ना. So I graduated in 2010. If I went to NLS in 2006, I would have graduated in 2011. And I really wanted to make money in that extra year. I don't know what else to say. Okay, question number 16. What is the answer? Question number 16. The answer should be Neha and Abhishek have been married for 20 days. Suddenly Neha after 2 months Neha returns only to say Abhishek married someone else. Will she succeed? Yes, because there is no presumption of death within a period of 20 days and 2 months and so on. No, after 20 days of marriage it happened, but 2 months there is absolutely no presumption of death. So question number 16, this is clearly polygamy. Clearly polygamy, meaning the correct answer is option A, right? I hope everybody's done that only. Yeah, it seems both YouTube and so all chats, option A is the answer. Perfect. Okay, Ram, Lakshman and Bharat are half brothers. सीधा रामायण ही हो गया है. Okay. Their father Dashrath had 3 wives. After their father died in 1950, there was a fight amongst the 3 of them for their father's property. Ram, being the oldest and the son from the first wife, claimed ownership to the whole property, since the other marriages were null and void as they were polygamous. Okay. Will Ram's claim succeed? Okay. Interesting question. Is everybody going to get this? What do you think the answer is? The Hindu Marriage Act. The Hindu Marriage Act came in 1955. That is your hint. That is your clue that I can give you. Hindu Marriage Act किस साल का है? 1955 का है, right? And the father has already died in 1950. So तो फिर क्या होगा? Therefore the answer is option B, Bombay, because polygamous marriages would not be recognized as polygamous marriages until the Hindu Marriage Act actually came into effect. Right, at least as far as Indian legal structure particularly is concerned, and therefore I would think that the best answer here is option B, Bombay. What's the answer given? The answer given is, yeah, the answer given is B also. Okay, makes sense. And everybody else has an equal claim to the property. So question number 7, उसमें तारीख पे तारीख दी जा रही थी, वो ध्यान रखना था कि 1950 की बात हो रही है. Okay, question number 18. राहुल एंड सिमरन रियली लव ईच अदर. अरे अरे अरे, दिलवाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे कि तो खिलाफ ही हो गया. राज एंड सिमरन, नो, बट ठीक है, चलो. राहुल एंड सिमरन really love each other and want to run away and get married. As a present for Simran's 18th birthday, Rahul planned for a secret marriage ceremony a day before her birthday. Okay, the plot has thickened. They get married but get caught by Simran's parents a few days later. She is dragged away to her house and Rahul is banished from the village. A few months later, a marriage proposal comes for Simran, which is accepted by her parents. Okay, Simran objects to it because she is already married to Rahul. Will her parents succeed? I mean, if the question is about forced marriage, then obviously the parents will not succeed. But I think that's not what they're asking here. No, I think here the issue is the first marriage, is the marriage ceremony, whatever, with Rahul, is that one valid? That one is not valid, because if it is before the 18th birthday, by definition that means that this is the marriage itself was void, no? Yeah, I mean, voidable hona chahiye ideally, but they get married but they get caught. Yeah, option A तो legendary है. As her parents, they know what's best for their daughter. Epic. ये आंसर अगर correct हो जाए तो मजा ही आ जाए. Of course, A is not the correct answer, right? So, which means C cannot be the correct answer. Now, between none of the above and option B is not the best possible explanation. But out of the options, I would rather choose B than Delhi. So you know, sort of an important thing that all of you should remember is, you should, as a general rule, you should really try to avoid marking none of the above. None of the above almost kabhi bhi correct answer nahi hota hai, as a general rule. If none of the above is given, that means you should choose between the other three options. Usually, it's not that kabhi nahi ho sakta, just as a general indicator. So that's why I'm saying between Bombay and Delhi, I'm by default I'm a little biased towards Bombay. So yes, Simran's marriage is so anyway. B seems correct to me. What's the answer given? Answer given is also B. So question number 18, option B is perfectly correct. Okay. Okay. Next, let's go. Question number 19. Ria and Meghna have been in a relationship, assuming both are women, okay, for 3 years. Okay, when they approached their parents as they wanted to get married, their parents were annoyed and disgusted, okay, about the homosexual relationship and filed a police complaint against them. ये तो डिसप्रोपोर्शनल है. शादी के लिए मना करना है, मना करो, अलग से क्रिमिनल कंप्लेंट ही हो गया. दिस वाज चैलेंज्ड. विल द पेरेंट्स सक्सीड? क्रिमिनल केस हो सकता है क्या ना? क्रिमिनल केस बी फाइल्ड? यस, नो, व्हाट डू यू गाइस थिंक? Obviously, the correct answer here looks to be option Delhi, right? यहाँ पे option D. Option D obviously would be the correct answer. Homosexuality cannot be punished. Homosexuality, of course, has been decriminalized. It is not a criminal offense anymore. So again, just on that point, please remember Section 377 of the IPC. Earlier, that was the provision which used to deal with homosexuality, right? But please remember that 377 हटा नहीं है अभी. 377 has not been removed. The interpretation, the understanding of section 377, right? For example, unnatural sexual offenses. That's what was given in section 377, unnatural sexual offenses. But unnatural sexual offenses has not been removed. Unnatural sexual offenses is still a crime. What the Supreme Court said in the case of Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India, in the Navtej Singh Johar case, what the Supreme Court said is that this is homosexuality is not included within broad whatever the definition of within the definition of unnatural sexual offenses, and therefore that's how we have sort of written this answer down. This provision has been written down and so on, but the provision still exists is what I want all of you to remember. ये अलग से मोदी जी का जो याद किया जा रहा है ना, डोनाल्ड ट्रंप, डी फॉर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप. So but तभी बीच में मेरे को हंसी आ गई because I'm looking at the chat also. But okay, anyway, where was I? Just 1 second. Yeah. Okay, D for Devjyoti, D for Dev. Okay, let's move on. Question number 20. Last question in this passage. लिव इन रिलेशनशिप की बात हो रही है, अब होमोसेक्सुअलिटी की बात खत्म हो गई है. लेट अस सी व्हाट इज इट अबाउट लिव इन रिलेशनशिप्स नाउ. Sarah, you're right, marriages are definitely not allowed. Civil rights have not been taken to that level. Decriminalization जरूर हो गया है, that's true. Okay, Rishabh and Devika were in a relationship. सही है. Aren't we going too slow? 20 questions in 1 hour 15 minutes. ईशा, वो आखिरी 20 questions ही होंगे ना जो reasoning के होंगे. We'll go a little faster after this. Where are you from? Okay, Rishabh and Devika were in a relationship and wanted to take it to the next level. They wanted to live in together. They wanted to rent a house and started living in. When the owner of the house found out that they weren't married, he immediately went to the house and caused a huge scene and shamed them for such immoral behavior and evicted them immediately. Rishabh and Devika filed a suit against this harassment for living in together. Will they succeed? Yeah, they will definitely succeed because it is not unlawful. It is not unlawful for them to live together, right? So option A, option C तो काफी funny है. Live-in relationships are the new trend of the 21st century and hence should not be questioned. Okay, we don't really care about crap like that. What we care about is the legality, not the morality of issues. So it is not unlawful. उतने में हमारी बात खत्म है. Question number 20 is option A. Okay, let's go. Question number 21 to 25. E-cigarettes के बारे में. एक्चुअल सिगरेट तो सबको पता ही है. स्मोकिंग इज इंजूरियस टू हेल्थ, पता है ना. स्मोकिंग नहीं करना चाहिए. Okay, but let's look at this one. Please let me know when you're done. Electronic cigarettes are electronic devices that heat a substance to create aerosol for inhalation. Excellent. It's not technical definition though. Anyway, okay, next slide, next slide. These e-cigarettes may contain nicotine and flavors and blah, okay. I'm from Agra. Acha, Dheeraj, you're from Agra, no? Okay, perfect. Done with this slide also. Can I move on? No person is allowed to use any place for the storage of any stock of e-cigarettes. Any form of electronic nicotine delivery system. Done. Let's move on. Eileen owned a shop at the. ये क्या question शुरू हो गया क्या? नहीं, question तो नहीं लिखा है. Okay. Known as Heavenly Vape Shop. Okay, in Devanahalli in Bangalore, that imported and stocked e-cigarettes from China. She had placed an order for e-cigarettes on September 10, 2019 with a Chinese supplier, and the package arrived on September 25th, 2019. On the arrival of the package, she promptly went to the house of her neighbor, who happened to be a police inspector, and handed it over to him. Okay. On 27th September 2019, she gave away for free 3 e-cigarettes from his stock, from his existing stock, to her cousin Rashida, who was a chain smoker of cigarettes and was exploring alternatives to cigarettes. Rashida was delighted and immediately began using e-cigarettes. Even after the law came into force, Eileen continued to stock a product in his shop known as the double barrel for sale, which has a chamber that converts nicotine juice into aerosol form like e-cigarettes and a pipe to smoke loose tobacco. Okay, Eileen continues to sell the double barrel even after September 18, 2019. Okay, I just want to check the dates one more time. Okay, the law came into force on September 18th, right? And the commercial owners of the existing stocks are required to declare and deposit all their shops at the nearest office of an authorized police officer. Here she gave it at her home. Okay, detailed set of facts. I hope everybody got through it. Can I come to the question? Okay, seems like everybody's done it. Let's look at the question number 21. Did Eileen violate the law by giving away his e-cigarettes to Rashida? Did Eileen violate it by giving it away to Rashida? Yes, because what you had to do, because एक तो आया 25 सितंबर को आया था ना, so what you had to do is you had to deposit it at the office of the nearest authorized police station, no police officer, whatever. So therefore option D, Delhi. Question number 21, Delhi is the correct answer for sure. Because that's the exact explanation what is given in the passage. Okay, 22. Did Rashida violate the law on e-cigarettes by using them? Did Rashida violate the law? Okay, so Rashida probably has not violated the law, no, because what is prohibited? Can we just want to go back to the passage? This was a little tricky. I just want to make sure. See, sale of e-cigarettes तो banned है ही, but look at the options, no? Option C and D तो खैर same हो गया है, तो either answer is correct. But between A, B and C, I just want to make sure. Just give me 1 second, huh? Okay, these e-cigarettes may contain blah blah blah. The law further states that no person is allowed to use any place for the storage of any stock of cigarettes, and you are supposed to then declare it. Okay, what else is given? um, Law prohibits the production, manufacture, import, export, transport, sale, commercial distribution and advertisement. So that means consumption or usage of e-cigarettes is not prohibited, right? Production, manufacture, import, export, transport, sale, distribution and advertisement is prohibited. So 21, consumption is not prohibited. 22 में sorry, consumption is not prohibited. So C or D दोनों correct answer है basically because same ही option है. So 22 option C would be the correct answer, right? That's the correct answer given as well. Makes perfect sense. हाँ, C and D both थोड़ा सा same तो हो ही गया था. Okay, let's move on. Is Eileen's stocking of the product double barrel legal or not? No, because double barrel में वो nicotine को convert कर रहा है to aerosol form, right? Which means clearly there is a functionality. It is discharging. It will fall within the definition of an e-cigarette. Clearly, right? So I'm assuming everybody will get the answer correct. Of course, question number 23, the correct answer has to be option A. Option A because it contains the functionality of an e-cigarette. Okay, 24. Question number 24. Please tell me the answer. Yes, please tell me question number 24. What do you think should be the answer? It's the same kind of situation, right? It's the same kind of situation because it is a similar product. Yeah, in 2020, so Eileen stocks a type of electronic device under the name Vapifier Sig, whatever. This device can convert a substance into aerosol form for inhalation through heating, but it is made of use a little known juice called Damiana, which is not. It doesn't matter. It does not matter because it still is performing the function of an e-cigarette, even if it's unless it is specifically classified as a medicine, right? The exception does not apply. Is it classified as a medicine? It is not. It is not. So therefore option D, Delhi. 24, Delhi is the correct answer, since the Vapifier Sig can also perform the function of an e-cigarette. Correct? Okay, makes sense. Last question from this passage. Did Eileen obey the law with respect to the new stock of e-cigarettes that arrived on September 25, 2019? No, Eileen did not, because Eileen was supposed to deposit it where? At the office of an authorized police officer, but उसने जाके अपने पड़ोसी को दे दिया था, right? तो पड़ोसी को देना, तो वो पुलिस ऑफिसर था, that is fine, but that's not enough. It has to be deposited at the office, not at the residence, and therefore 25, the correct answer is C. Okay, let's move on. Indian National Bar Association, 68% of the victims of sexual harassment. Okay, prevention of sexual harassment. Okay, it looks like it's going to be about sexual harassment and some statistics and workplace and so on. Please go through the passage. Perfect. Okay, please let me know once you guys are done so that I can move on to the next slide. Done, everyone. Okay, a lot of done messages that I can see, so I'm going to move on. Egregious behavior like assault and eve teasing clearly amount to sexual harassment. Okay, of course, of course, of course. Done. Jyoti, thank you very much. I totally appreciate your comment. Can we move to the next slide, please? Done, 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 done. Okay, excellent. Okay, the law entitles the victim to lodge a complaint with the ICC. Done, I assume. छोटा सा पैसेज ही था ये तो, but we have a couple of more slides to go. I did not check the chat box, but I assumed everybody must have been done by now because it was a smaller passage as well. Okay, so I can see कई लोगों ने done लिखा भी है, so seems I was right. क्या हो गया ऐसा? अरे यार रविंद्र यार, जिसने जो बनाया हो हम तो अपना कर लेते हैं ना. Everybody's up to their own lives. Yeah, that's fine. Done. Can I move on? Let's go to the questions. कुछ है इसमें अलग हो रहा है. Sunita and Swaranjeet work at a company called Latent Cloud Enterprises. Okay. Swaranjeet is Sunita's senior at work, and Sunita has to report to Swaranjeet every day about her work. Okay. One day, Swaranjeet sent Sunita a set of images on WhatsApp. These images were lewd and obscene in nature, and Sunita was offended by them. She wants to file a complaint for sexual harassment against Swaranjeet. Is Swaranjeet guilty? 100%. इसमें सोचना ही क्या है? काफी easy question है. I am sure everybody will get this answer correct. बताओ A और C में से what are you going to mark? It was his responsibility to ensure she was comfortable. That is option A. Sending obscene messages is harassment. Option C. A or C में which is the better answer? C. Most of you are answering C. C. Yes, perfect. Yes, the correct answer is of course option C here, right? Let's move on to the next one. Latent Cloud Enterprises has 11 employees. Since the number of employees is low, the CEO of Latent Cloud Enterprises, Gaitonde, decides to not form an ICC. Okay. When Sunita approached her, Gaitonde told her that he would handle the matter himself. Can he do that? No. No, of course not. He cannot do that. And if your organization is more than 10 people, then anyway that the law specifically requires. So 11 में मतलब कम तो है, but 10 से तो ज़्यादा है ना. तो 10 से ज़्यादा है मतलब it's a pretty straightforward direct application of the principle, no? So 27, therefore the answer should be option Bombay. Option B, Bombay, clearly the obvious answer, no? It has to be more than 10 people हैं तो करना ही बनाना पड़ेगा. Okay, 28. Next question. Gaitonde agrees to establish the ICC for Latent Cloud Enterprises and to refer Sunita's complaint to the ICC. Other than Sunita, who is a mid-level employee at Latent Cloud, two other women worked at the company. Shruti, a new employee who was hired at a junior position, and Tarika, who was a director and therefore held a senior position in the company. Gaitonde appoints Shruti and Tarika to the ICC but does not appoint Sunita. Okay. He also decides to be a member of the ICC, which is fine, and to preside over the committee himself. Okay, so here is the problem. Because the ICC must be the chairman, whoever is presiding over the committee must be a woman, right? In this case, ठीक है, majority members तो you know women हैं, 2/3 members women हैं, but the chairman, whoever is presiding over, is not a woman, which is clearly a problem, right? So yes, can he preside over? No, it must be option D, Delhi therefore is the obvious correct answer here because it must be presided over by a woman. Is that clear? Any questions till now? Any questions? No more questions till now. Okay, perfect. Let's move on. Question number 29. If Latent Cloud Enterprises is to have a total of 5 members, how many other men can Gaitonde appoint to the ICC? At least half have to be women, right? So at least half or is it more than half have to be women? At least one half, no? So which means Gaitonde is already 1, 2 are there, so he can appoint one more. He can appoint maximum one more, so because 3 women anyway have to be appointed, right? So option B seems to be the correct answer. Yeah. Very simple question, that's why I'm not even checking the chat box. I am assuming कि सब सही कर ही रहे होंगे, right? So that's why I'm not really taking too much stress. Perfect. Okay, last question in this passage. The ICC of Latent Cloud Enterprises conducts its investigation into Sunita's complaint and finds Swaranjit guilty of sexual harassment. It recommends to the company that it grants Sunita her request of transferring Swaranjit to a branch office of the company. Okay, so can this also be done? Can you request a sort of transfer? No, you can. I mean, the ICC can talk about the transfer of the female employee, right? And similarly, leave. Transfer तो दोनों का हो सकता है. That's fine. The leave part तो स्वरणजीत का नहीं हो सकता. Leave सिर्फ woman को दे सकते हैं, right? Transfer किसी का भी हो सकता है, if I'm recollecting correctly, but leave सिर्फ जो जिसका harassment हुआ है, that person only can be granted leave. So what is the option that we can mark here? 30 is option A. Option A would be the simplest answer here, which is the answer given. Perfect. Let us move on to the next slide. Last 10 questions on reasoning. Legal reasoning. We have the last 10 questions that we have to do, after which we will be able to scroll through things a little faster. I think we'll take a quick break. After we finish the reasoning questions, the 10 more to go. Let's finish it off, guys, and then we have few legal GK questions. We will probably be able to go through them a little faster than the reasoning questions. No, sir, leave can be only of human. Yes, yes, Isha, I'm so sorry. I think I'm getting a little a little careless with the passage of time. Probably need a shot of espresso or coffee and then get back to my energy levels. धीरे धीरे वॉल्यूम भी कम हो गया है, मुझे फील हो रहा है ऐसे. Yeah, it's what, just slightly over 1.5 hours. I should not be this exhausted actually. Actually, online classmate doesn't always seem like exactly 1.5 hours. But okay, done. I assume everybody's done with the slide. Perfect. Let's move on. Right to privacy continued. Right to privacy continued. Please go ahead. B for बुलाती है मगर चलेगा नहीं. Perfect. Why these days run a continuous class of 2-3 hours? Sarah, I think this is only in because today is the last day for the Republic Day celebration sessions that we are doing, right? It's only just in light of the celebration session that we are doing. That's why. Kunal says, sir, you're way too cool to be a teacher. Arre, Kunal, ये कैसा comment है? You should meet some of my professors. Like there is one professor called Dr. Maheshwar Singh. Currently teaches at NLU Delhi. He's a professor of political science and so on. I mean, he's way cooler than I think I can ever even aspire to be. He's my inspiration to become a teacher. So yeah, you should meet him. If you go to NLU Delhi, you will realize. Yeah, done. I assume these long classes happen regularly. Well, sort of. Time goes fast with you, sir. Thank you, Dheeraj. I'll take that as a compliment. अच्छी ये बताओ कि हो गया, आगे बढ़े. यही बातें मुलाकातें यही चलती रहेंगी. हाँ, अब याद आ रहा है सबको, कम से कम डन वन लिखने लगे. ठीक है. Let's move to the next slide. The government argued that privacy is one of the late view. The privacy is not exclusive. Perfect. Okay. Yes. Can we move on? 4 states have declared that they support. Support है, बना हुआ है मामला. ठीक है, तो आगे बढ़े. In any case, I think you guys would have been done by now. Next slide. Kapil Sibal argued. Okay, come to the next slide. Please read this as well. Okay, without privacy and private life, no person could be meaningfully free. अरे emotional हो गया ये तो मामला. A world without privacy is a world with unchecked surveillance, and a constant surveillance is antithetical to human dignity. Okay, मामला काफी serious. Lawyers भावुक होते हुए मैदान में. In the challenges to Aadhaar, as the petitioners argued, the Aadhaar would be privacy became essential. The Supreme Court decided that privacy students not automatically. Perfect. Let's go. Can we go to the questions? right to privacy. Article 21 तो पता ही होगा. I don't think you need to sort of read the full thing. Can we move on? Okay, let's go. Question number 31. A new law to fly drones in residential areas for surveillance for security purpose to keep a check on antisocial activities was enacted. During the early stages of the implementation of the act, it worked well since it helped nab a lot of thieves and other miscreants. Okay, one day, through the drone camera, a man wearing all black clothes with a huge flag was found moving mysteriously around the Red Fort area in New Delhi. And given what happened yesterday, I think Red Fort पे तो surveillance वैसे भी बढ़ानी पड़ेगी नहीं? The nearest police station was immediately alerted and the police nabbed the man in the middle of the road and were asked to leave the bag on the ground and step away from it. Upon checking the bag, it was found the man just had some toys in it. He was still taken to the police station for questioning. His lawyer came down to the police station and challenged this particular decision. Okay, randomly in the middle of the road, can you be arrested simply for holding a bag and walking, and even if simply somebody believes that you are found to be moving mysteriously? Kale kapde pehenna, black is always the new black, no? So it doesn't really matter. So this is obviously a fault on the part of the police and the investigating agencies. Option Bombay. Will he succeed? Yes, he will definitely succeed. His arrest is wrong. As part of the right to privacy, no man can be apprehended right in the middle of the road for no justifiable cause. Okay, 32. Government decided to enact new legislation where personal information of the public was going to be collected for the purposes of creating a database of people who consume pizza with pineapple toppings. A nationwide government survey was conducted where households who consume pineapple pizza had to provide their identification number, house address, and other personal details to secure them in one place and keep them isolated from the rest of the community. Wow, ये तो legendary है. Meghna, a human rights activist and a pineapple pizza lover herself, who believes in protecting the constitution to prevent such gross injustice and violation of the right to privacy, wants to challenge this legislation. Pineapple pizza warriors, will they win the case? They will 100% win the case in this situation, because obviously based on my food habits, my right to privacy really cannot be celebrated or cannot be sustained if you even want to know who is consuming what food. I mean, unless I'm consuming something which is prohibited like cow meat or whatever, cannibalism, and I'm trying to eat humans, that's another issue. But मतलब pineapple prohibited नहीं है, pizza prohibited नहीं है, तो फिर तुम्हें जानना क्यों है कि मैं pineapple pizza क्यों खा रहा हूँ? मेरी मर्जी. 32, correct answer is of course option B for Bombay. Right. 33, Khushi rented an apartment in Bangalore where her landlord is a Brahmin. Okay. One day she made chicken at home. कौन सा chicken लिखा नहीं है. Okay. Her landlord barged into her house and asked her to vacate the house immediately since it was a Brahmin household and non-vegetarian food wasn't tolerated there. She challenged this order to vacate, claiming that what she eats comes under her right to privacy and that is her personal affair. Will she succeed? Yes. Again, dietary चीजें कौन क्या खा रहा है, this is definitely a matter of right to privacy. It is none of your business. तुम पहले ही पूछ लेते, do you eat chicken or not? This is the condition कि मैं तभी घर दूंगा, मैं नॉन वेजिटेरियंस को घर रेंट पे देना ही नहीं चाहता. All of that is your choice because that is your house, you can decide. But after you've given and everything, one day if I'm eating chicken, that cannot be a valid ground to randomly throw me out of your house. 33, correct answer is obviously option A. 34, 34, अब इसका आंसर आप लोग बताइए. I am going to wait for your answer. Okay, question number 34. I am going to wait for your answer. Why not D? Why not D in 33 में? The landlord has the power to ask his tenant to vacate जब भी whenever this person wants. No, first of all you don't have that right. ऐसा कोई right है ही नहीं, बात ही खत्म. Why not D? Because that right does not exist. The right that you are talking about, that right simply does not exist. End of story. Okay. Okay, 34. What is the answer, guys? Okay, COVID test करा रहे हैं. Rapid COVID test करना पड़ेगा. Okay, करा सकते हैं. Contagious disease, highly contagious disease, etc., etc. Can you force this test? Yes, this test can be forced, right? This is not an invasion of right to privacy. So between B and C, which option do we choose? B में क्या लिखा है? Medical safety is more important than the right to privacy. No, medical safety अगर issue है तो आपका right to privacy ही नहीं है, right? So it's not that it is more important than privacy. The logic is this is not a violation of privacy in the first place. Therefore, obviously the correct answer has to be option C, right? Not B. More important is not the issue. The issue is this is simply not a violation of privacy itself. Okay. Last question in this passage, and then we will go to the last passage for the day. Ramesh is into black magic. Okay. And his neighbors have continuously heard abnormal noises. Okay. Okay. Man, sounds from his house. One day, there were loud screams coming from his house. Okay. The neighbors immediately alerted the police, who came with a search warrant to Ramesh's house to check what was going on. When the police reached his house, he denied entry to them, claiming that he has a right to privacy. If there are loud screams, then of course this is not a right to privacy, right? God knows whether you're committing murder or God knows what else, your robbery, dacoity, rape, God knows what's happening. So this claim for right to privacy is of course not valid. No का एक ही option ही है. 35 therefore is option B, Bombay, which is the correct answer. Right? Okay. Let us go. Last passage for today. Last passage for today. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs and misleading advertisements and so on. ठीक है. देखते हैं. Let's go. Last passage for today. Please let me know when you are done. Isha says, please clear my doubt in 31. Isha, I'm sorry, I did not see your doubt. What was your doubt? Can you just put your question again, please? That way I will be able to help you out simpler. And I'll go back to question number 31, of course. But please put the question again. Guys, just give me a minute while I just wait. Can you just copy paste it? Isha, are you still there? Can you just copy paste it, please? 31 should be D, I think. Okay, perfect. Let me just quickly go back to 31 and I'll come back. Okay, 31, we have marked the correct answer to be option Bombay. Oh, you're saying it should be D. Both B and C hona chahiye? No. The problem with C is one cannot be arrested without an arrest warrant is not correct. There are many offenses. Where the police does not need an arrest warrant, right? Which are basically cognizable offenses के category में. Like if somebody is accused of murder या murder होते हुए मैं देख रहा हूँ, कोई suspicion ही है, ये सब situation में warrant की जरूरत नहीं होती है. Every situation does not require an arrest warrant. So that is why option C is not correct. That is why option Delhi is wrong and Bombay was correct in question number 31. Okay, okay, let's go to the next slide. Sorry for the hold up, everyone. Just had to answer that question quickly. NIA can arrest without warrant. Uttar Pradesh police can also arrest without warrant. Depends on the nature of offense. Himanshu, you've got it spot on. It depends on cognizable nature of the offense, right? So I think we'll study criminal law in more detail with Surajit. Of course, you can ask questions to me also. Feel free to do that. That's fine with me. Just as much as I'm sure if you ask tort questions to Surajit, he will also be perfectly okay with answering those questions, right? Okay, done. I assume let's move on. Let us quickly move on. Misleading advertisement, false description, false guarantee, representation या फिर कुछ अगर छुपाया है जानबूझ के, deliberately conceals important information. So for any of these kind of conditions, basically what we will have is they will be treated as false or misleading advertisements. Okay, makes perfect sense. That's fine. Can I move on? Done. Next, done. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next one. Damn, when we finish these 5 questions, we'll take a quick break, huh? I will go off camera properly for like at least 2 minutes. At least बोला है, हाँ? हो सकता है 3 minutes के लिए I will go off. I definitely need a quick break. We can come back with a little more energy as and when, right? Okay, let's move on. Oh, quite a long passage, huh? Okay, anyway, I think this is probably the last slide. Looks to be the last slide. I think then we'll have our last 5 questions on legal reasoning. Done. Can we go to the questions, everyone? Perfect. Let's go to question number 36. Mr. Ram Prasad keeps narrating various stories of his pre-retirement life to the entire society. During this, he also claimed himself to be an expert fisher and that he catches close to 80 fishes in an hour. Vara Prasad owns a farmhouse that has an adjoining lake. He knows there are many fishes in it, so he appoints Ram Prasad to fish in it and catch a huge haul. In reality, Ram Prasad doesn't know how to fish, okay? But he agreed to Vara Prasad's offer because he offered him a lot of money. Ram Prasad did not even catch a single fish. Is this false advertising? Yeah, I don't think this is false advertising. No. There is no advertisement in the first place. वो तो अपने बस लोगों को बताता था, कुछ कहानी था, ये था, वो था, वो अलग बात है. That is not, does not qualify as advertising, and therefore, yeah, option C seems to be the most correct answer. Okay. 37. 37. Blue Energy is a sports drink company. The famous tagline of the product is one sip and you'll be on cloud nine. Rajesh tried out this drink and felt no change. He sued Bluebell, whatever, Blue Energies, okay, for Bluebell, whatever, for false advertising because he didn't go to cloud nine. Will Rajesh succeed? No. This is basically a statement that is not supposed to be taken very seriously, right? Puffery, okay. Puffery is a big bold statement which you don't expect that it will be literally relied upon. It is just a figure of speech. It's just a statement that you say, like you will get wings. Red Bull, you will get wings. So wings से cloud 9 ही पहुंच जा रहे हैं. So वो ऐसा नहीं है. It's perfectly fine, right? Nobody is supposed to take it literally. It is not supposed to be taken literally, right? 37 Bombay. 38 Watersure is a leading water purifier company. Recently, they launched their latest product which claims to purify 99% of the germs and bacteria. Fascinated by this, Ria buys it. After getting it home, when she started using the purifier, only muddy water started coming out for it. So sad. Upon diagnosis, it was found that there was a mechanical defect. Okay, so if there was a mechanical defect, that means वो एक machine खराब था, right? एक machine खराब था does not mean the advertisement itself was false, right? वो machine सही होगी तो 99% of the germs and bacteria etc. will be taken care of. So will her suit succeed? She filed the case against the company, I assume. So will her suit succeed? No. No, a mechanical. Bombay. Again, 38 also Bombay seems to be the correct answer. Oh, sorry, both B and C the other. C, no, Aquasure is liable but not for false advertising. अच्छा, for the mechanical, so उसके machine के लिए अलग से liability है. Yes, that seems correct. Both B and C is probably a better answer, I would think. Yes, that's fine. Sorry, my mistake. Oh, I need that damn break, man. Losing my mental commitment to read through the sections. Go Power is a big shoe brand in the country. Sorry, let me not act like a goddamn drama queen. Screw that. I am going to go through this properly. They started advertising their new product on TV for being long lasting when used under normal conditions. Okay. Ramu, just to test the long lasting feature of the shoes, sets them on fire to see if the shoes survive the test of fire. ये तो ज़्यादा हो गया. The shoes get burnt immediately. Ramu sues Go Power for false advertising. Will he succeed? Definitely not. अभी आग लगा के ये normal test तो नहीं है. Long lasting when used under normal conditions. Setting it on fire is not a normal condition, right? So option A is test of setting the shoes on fire is an abnormal condition, right? So therefore it doesn't really matter. Okay, last question in legal reasoning. Renu and Venu are twins. Last question है तो आप लोग बताइए. Last question, what is your answer, guys? Isha says Ramu is the drama queen here. Yeah, probably. Okay, question number 40. What is your answer, everyone? Okay, so option C. Option C would probably be the best answer here. Misleading the consumers is an offense, obviously, under the new guidelines. So if you're not a content writer and you're claiming your जिंदगी में कभी लिखा भी नहीं है, many national newspaper ये सब, this is clearly false advertising and it is, you're going to be responsible for it under option C. Right? Question number 40. Therefore, option C is the correct answer. Everybody has gotten option C? Okay. Most of you, I think, have marked option C as well. Perfect. We have a lot of 50 quick questions on legal GK. But before that, you guys would have to excuse me for just a couple of minutes. Need to just get a glass of water, get a shot of coffee, and I'll be back. So it's 9:05 on my clock. Let's say I'll be back by 9:07, and we can do 50 questions as quickly as we can, because it's, again, like I said, just legal GK, right? Sorry guys, करते करते 9:08 हो ही गया, but that's fine. I'm assuming most of you are still here. Okay, no study, I'm also fine. What's going on? Okay, आपस में chat भी हो गया है. Very good. गुजरात से कौन है? How's your preparation? ठीक है. Okay, so you guys didn't miss me too much, that means. So let's do 50 questions very, very quickly. Should take us about 30 seconds per question, then we'll be done by 9:30, right? Let us target that. Which of the following act designated the governor of Bengal as the governor general of Bengal? Okay, ये बताओ कौन सा act होगा? Question number 41. It's very old, right? 1773. The very earliest would be the earliest from what I remember should be the correct answer. It is, of course, Regulating Act of 1773. My memory is serving correct. Okay. 42. Which of the following act prohibited the servants of the East India Company from engaging in any private trade or accepting presents or bribes from the natives? It's the same act. It's the same act of 1773. The Regulating Act of 1773 is the same act which prohibited in any private trade, because we had the whole concept is the Governor General was established, right? So which means there is going to be a transfer of transfer of power from the East India Company to the British Crown to some extent. So that's why you should remember the Act of 1773. Okay, which of the following act abolished the trade monopoly of the East India Company? A little more interesting. Which one abolished the monopoly of the East India Company? This is the again, just choose the earliest one, I would think. Charter Act of 1833 में क्या था? 33 में नहीं था, उससे पहले. It should be the Charter Act of 1813, right? Indian trade was so again, because East India Company cannot be the only company trading with India, because this is in continuation of the transfer of power basically and removal of monopoly, by which all British merchants have to be allowed to trade. So 43, I would think the best answer is option A, Charter Act of 1813. So that's where it opened up the market, right? Question number 44. After the commencement of the Indian Councils Act of 1861, Lord Canning, fine. The then Viceroy nominated 3 Indians to the Legislative Council. So Raja of Banaras, Maharaja of Patiala, which was one of the only Sikh kingdoms, is something that you can remember as well. So we had Nawabs, we had the Nizams, we had the various Rajput kingdoms, including the Maharaja of Banaras. But the Maharaja of Patiala was one of the only Sikh kingdoms in India. Who was the other one? The only person to be nominated that time was Dinkar Rao, right? It was Sir Dinkar Rao would be the correct answer for question number 44, right? Quick look at the chat box if anything interesting is happening. Everybody's answering, everybody's involved. Very good to see that the answering spirit is still pretty much on, right? Sir Dinkar Rao, perfect. Okay, let's go to the next question. Indian Councils Act of 1909, okay, provided for the first time for the association of of Indians with the executive councils of the Viceroy and governors. Who became the first Indian to join the Viceroy's executive council? This is something that I don't remember actually, so I will just have to trust the answer key for this particular question at least. If I had to guess, I would probably mark option between A or C, but A, probably A, I'm not sure. Let's see. What is the answer? Answer given is option A, Satyendra Prasad Sinha, right? Okay, first person to join the Viceroy's executive council. Okay, so I'm learning with you guys as well now. This is interesting to know. Okay, Indian Councils Act of 1909 also introduced the system of communal representation for Muslims by accepting the concept of a separate electorate. Who is known as the father of communal electorate in India? It's of course the father of communal electorate is Lord Minto, because we had the Minto-Morley reforms, right? So it begins with Lord Minto, who headed the Minto-Morley reforms, including the separate electorate concept. So you guys should, if you want to read further, the best place would be to read about the Minto-Morley reforms, right? Okay. The Central Public Service Commission was set up in 1926 for recruiting civil servants under which of the following acts? So this is Government of India Act tab tak aa chuka tha, because Central Public Service Commission banna hai, so obviously it has to be the Government of India Act, and the first Government of India Act, basically the only real first sort of effective Government of India Act, which is 1919. The most important one is 1935, of course. तो ऑप्शन में है भी नहीं, but 1919 is the legislation which included civil servants, and the first Indian to get rank 1 in the civil services examination. Interestingly, for those of you who don't know, the first Indian to get rank 1 was someone whose birthday we now celebrate as Parakram Divas, right? On January 23rd. किसका बर्थडे था? 19 जनवरी को घोषणा हो गई थी, भारत सरकार ने बताया था. Government of India has announced it as the Parakram Divas, right? Whose birthday was on 23rd of January just recently? Yes, everybody remembers Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and he also got rank 1, by the way, in the civil services. So interesting. After the commencement of the Simon Commission in India in November 1927, Ramsay MacDonald, the British Prime Minister, announced a scheme of representation of the minorities, okay, in August 1932, that's fine, which came to be known as which of the following prestigious awards? I don't know. Seems more likely that it's probably the Raman Magsaysay representation of minorities. I don't know again this one. Do we have, it's not the Magsaysay award because that's for literature, Nobel Prize is something else. Can it be known as the MacDonald Award, or can it be known as the Communal Award? I'm not sure between A and D. Okay, the answer is Communal Award. Prestigious award, really? Okay, I don't know how much to agree or disagree with this, but okay, Communal Award. Okay, 49. The demand for a constituent assembly was finally accepted in principle by the British government in 1940. This is popularly known as the August Offer. This is, of course, the August Offer. Then the objective resolutions, etc. Objectives resolution is, first objective resolution was by Nehru. A little subsequent to all of this that happened. 49, of course, is the August Offer, right? Okay, question number 50. After the final making of the Constitution, the Constituent Assembly appointed a number of committees, okay, to deal with the different tasks of Constitution making. Who was the chairman of the major committee called Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights? Fundamental Rights was Sardar Patel. Committee on Fundamental Rights is Sardar Patel. Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas. It's the same thing. Doctor, I'm saying Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, option B would be the correct answer in this case. You just take a quick look. May not be relevant directly for CLAT exam, but for other entrances, this historical aspect of making of the Constitution, what were the various committees, etc., continues to be a relevant area from which questions may be asked. So it's not worth the risk. एक बार तो देख ही लेना चाहिए, right? एक बार तो देख ही लेना चाहिए. Which of the following non-assembly members, so this is Constituent Assembly, I'm assuming, was the chairman of the expert committee on the financial provisions? Financial provisions is Nalini Sarkar. Financial provisions is definitely Nalini Ranjan Sarkar, who headed the minor committee, major committee, doesn't matter. Financial committee is Nalini Ranjan Sarkar, right? 51. Okay, question number 52. How does the chat look like? A or D maybe? Okay. Everybody is still active. Everybody is still answering. Good. Let's go on. July 8th, 1946. The Congress Party, which is the Indian National Congress, correct? The Indian National Congress appointed an experts committee for the purpose of preparing material for the Constituent Assembly. Which of the following was not a member of that committee? Not a member, कैसे याद होगा? Experts committee. Okay, M.N. Roy could not be a member because he was not a member of any of the, by and large. No, he was the one who recommended the Constituent Assembly and the Constitution should exist and so on. So I don't think he was part of the experts committee for sure. Although for sure, 99% sure. Let us see what is the answer. Yes, so M.N. Roy is basically known as the person who basically recommended that there should be a Constitution of India in the first place. So to that extent, everybody remembers the contribution of M.N. Roy. He's the one who argued in favor of it and this and that, a lot of things, right? Okay, the critics have criticized. The critics have criticized. So obviously, the Constituent Assembly on various grounds. According to some critics, the Constituent Assembly was a Hindu-dominated body. Who called it a body of Hindus? So by default, it's certainly not B.N. Rao. It is definitely not Raizada ji. Between Winston Churchill, but Winston Churchill hated Indians, not Hindus as such or Muslims. He just uniformly hated the third world and caused the Bengal famine to me. But I think the consequences of the Bengal famine, I squarely blame Churchill more than anybody else in the history of mankind. I think God knows who else to be. So if I really had to guess, I think it'll be Lord Simon. It has to be Lord Simon from the current options. Yes, perfect. Okay, the calligraphy of the Hindi version of the original constitution was done by Vasant Krishan Vaidya and elegantly decorated. The same and the same was illuminated by whom? I don't know. This one also I don't know. I'm getting a little caught in some of these questions. Maybe should have Nandlal Bose. Okay, so maybe you need to remember. You guys should mug it up. When I was giving the entrance, I definitely remembered all of these answers. When I was preparing, definitely remembered all of these answers. I think I'm just missing. This is probably the second or third question that I really did not know the answer to. Okay, let's see how many more I am going to screw up myself. In which of the following cases the Supreme Court, okay, this I cannot screw up, right? Held that the Indian Constitution is founded on the bedrock of the balance between fundamental rights and directive principles. So, not ADM Jabalpur cannot be. Golaknath has already been overruled. Indira Nehru Gandhi case, well, if it's about Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, that case is more popular in the High Court. We're talking about Supreme Court. Minerva Mills is definitely the correct answer for question number 55. Right, Golaknath is 1967 but already overruled. ADM Jabalpur also overruled. Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, more is the High Court case that is the important case, right? So Minerva Mills case on constitutional law, fundamental rights, fundamental duties also to some extent, and so on. Okay, 56. The 97th constitutional amendment of 2011, so more current affairs. So that should be fine. Gave a constitutional status and protection to cooperative societies. Okay, it added a new part 9b in the constitution which is entitled cooperative societies. Correct. Under which of the following articles? 243. Okay. 243. Option A. 240. Okay, this is probably a little too tough for you guys. But this is something you can mug up separately, right? ZA is the progressiveness and that it's the earlier part of cooperative societies. The particular new amendment that came recently is H onwards, right? Or alag kisi article mein to hai hi nahi. So it is there, or it is all of it is there in 243 itself. So ZH to ZT, and you can just remember this for your reference. Maybe just sort of note it down as well, so that you don't have a difficulty in mugging it up later. Who among the following has called the Constitution of India as the lawyer's paradise for the first time in the history of the Constitution? Yeah, lawyer's paradise, first of all, doesn't sound like, out of the options, again, I don't know the answer. I really don't know the answer, and I don't even remember ever reading this. But if I had to guess, how would you guess this if you had to mark an answer? You know, if I had to guess it, it would not be an Indian. You understand? That too for the first time when we're talking about, usually it would not be an Indian, because when you're saying lawyer's paradise, what you really mean is that there is so much scope for interpretation that there is also a lot of scope that there can be misuse of the provisions of the Constitution. It is possible, right? So usually it's a high probability that so if I really had to choose, I would probably mark Ivor Jennings, although I really don't know the answer, like I said, honestly, but that's what my guess would be. What is the answer? My guess is correct. सी अब सबको लग रहा होगा ऐसे ही रैंक 20 आया है गेस कर करके। नहीं नहीं नहीं, बहुत सारे आंसर आते भी थे, अब एक आध तो देखो गेस करते ही हैं। ओके 58, which of the following eminent jurists and constitutional experts called the preamble as the identity card of the constitution? This is one of my favorite lawyers of all time, right, of all time. When he was arguing in a lot of these cases, including Kesavananda Bharti versus State of Kerala, he has used this argument that the preamble is the identity card, it's the ID of the constitution. That is where we should use the preamble for the purpose of interpretation of the constitution. This is of course Nani A Palkiwala. By the way, Nani Palkiwala is also the person who had argued the entire basic structure doctrine, right? So when you hear about the basic structure doctrine, usually everybody will hear that this is Kesavananda Bharti versus State of Kerala, is the case in which basic structure doctrine came, right? But a lot of times that detail sort of gets missed. There is a lawyer who actually argued all of this, and that legendary lawyer is basically Shri Nani Palkiwala, right? Who has also, at the age of 29, he had already written one of the most famous books on tax law, which people follow even today, right? At least the jurisprudential aspects, because of course the law has changed, right? But one of the best books on tax law was also written even before he was 30, by Nani Palkiwala. So of course that's the correct answer, ID card of the Constitution of India, right? Okay. Which of the following is a landmark judgment regarding doctrine of territorial nexus? Territorial nexus is basically Wallace versus IT Commissioner, CIT लिखते हैं usually, income tax commissioner लिखते हैं, but Wallace versus CIT is basically the landmark case on territoriality, as to what would be the jurisdictional aspect and this and that. All of it is, you can just mug it up, actually there's not much to explain. वही डॉक्ट्रिन उसी केस में आया था कि ये लैंड का वहां से अगर जुड़ा हुआ है तो इनकम तुम्हारा काउंट किया जाएगा, तुम्हारे इनकम टैक्स में वो कैलकुलेट किया जाएगा, एंड यू डोंट नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द डिटेल्स ऑफ द इनकम टैक्स एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट as well, but just if you ever hear this phrase, please remember it is Wallace versus CIT, Commissioner of Income Tax, Bombay, right? Okay, question number 60. The concept of welfare state is included in which part of the Constitution? That is part 4. Of course, welfare state is included in part 4, which is directive principles of state policy, right? क्योंकि there is a certain duties, सरकार को ये भी करना चाहिए, वो भी करना चाहिए, वो सब directive principles ही हैं, fundamental to the governance of the state as far as article 37 में लिखा ही हुआ है, right? So anyway, part 4 and DPSPs are basically welfare state, right? Okay. 61. Which of the following is a feature of the parliamentary form of government? Executive is responsible to the judiciary. No, parliament supreme hoga na. So executive is responsible to the legislature. This is correct. Option B automatically is correct, because government of the people, for the people and by the people, democracy hai. One form of democracy is parliamentary democracy, right? And parliamentary democracy mein basically executive is responsible to the legislature. Law legislature ne banaya, executive ko discharge karna padega, right? It is their law that they have to apply. Executive is always responsible to the legislature. The writ of prohibition is issued by the Supreme Court or a High Court against, it has to be against A. Option A obviously seems to be the correct, but it is also against administrative bodies, right? Judicial, quasi-judicial, administrative and judicial. Which one would be a better answer? B would be a better answer. Administrative bodies as well as judicial authorities, assuming that they are going beyond their jurisdiction, right? Assuming that they're going beyond their jurisdiction and hearing a particular case or a particular dispute which they have no right to decide upon, then the writ of prohibition is issued, right, under 32 and 226. 32 for Supreme Court and 226 for the High Court, right? So 62, option B, Bombay. 63, which of the following best defines the parliamentary term crossing the floor? Okay, क्रॉसिंग द फ्लोर इज बेसिकली एक साइड से दूसरे साइड चले जाना, राइट? मतलब क्या कहते हैं, ऑपोजिशन से सरकार में समर्थन कर देना, या सरकार छोड़ के अगर आप ऑपोजिशन में आ गए, जैसे कर्नाटका में हुआ. So crossing the floor, leaving the opposition to join the party in power or vice versa by a parliamentary. Okay, this is exactly what it is. Crossing the floor, you go from A to B or B to A, right? Either you are supporting the government, earlier you were in opposition. If you are with the government, now you have joined the opposition, is basically crossing the floor. Self-explanatory bhi hai, not a very difficult thing to sort of understand. Simple है, एक साइड से दूसरे साइड चले गए. Okay. The value of the vote of an MP for election to the president, okay, is determined by dividing what? Dividing the total value. Total population of the country? No. Population of the country? No. Total value of votes of members of all the state legislative assemblies held by the elected members of the two houses of parliament. Basically proportional representation देखना होता है. Proportional representation देखना होता है. So we add up all the MLAs. कर्नाटका में इतने हैं, यूपी में 400 हैं, कहीं 200 है, ये है, वो सबका ऐड कर दिए, एंड पर इलेक्टेड मेंबर MP कितने हैं. So एक MP का उतना वैल्यू निकलेगा. यूजुअली इट विल बी लाइक एटलीस्ट 4 और 5 और इवन 6 टाइम्स के अराउंड का रेशियो निकलता है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन एग्जैक्ट सिचुएशन, बट यूजुअली 4 to 6 टाइम्स के बीच में एक MLA के वोट का 4x या 6x के करोगे तो एक MP का वोट का वैल्यू निकलेगा. not something that you categorically need to understand, but MLA का वोट का वैल्यू फिर कैसे निकलता है? MLA का वोट का वैल्यू निकलता है by dividing with the population that you are representing. कितने लोगों के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं आप, उसको divided by 1000 etc करके. It's a long calculation, all of which is something that you probably don't need to understand in detail. Okay, quick look at the chat before I go on and on and on. Okay, YouTube chat I'm looking at. Sir, according to you, who is responsible for 26 January 2021 violence? Who is responsible, क्या बताए? मतलब अब थियोरेटिकली अब सरकार या सरकार के लोग तो जाके खुद ही वायलेंस करेंगे नहीं, राइट? सो if I had to blame in terms of political argument, if you ask me, obviously it will be people from the opposition who are involved, but I think also the government is involved to the extent that they should really be controlling law and order to a larger extent. Again, that is simply my personal opinion, but इतना ज़्यादा तो मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा अलाउ कर दिया है, मतलब इतना नहीं होना चाहिए. अब तक तो कुछ नहीं तो एटलीस्ट लॉ एंड ऑर्डर तो कंट्रोल करो. वैसे तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज ऑलरेडी पुट अ स्टे ऑन द इंटरिम स्टे ऑन द फार्मर्स बिल और व्हाटएवर, राइट? बट यू नो, एटलीस्ट लॉ एंड ऑर्डर is a minimum priority focus that any government has to be accountable for. So I think to that extent the central government is at fault. Okay, 64 का तो खैर आंसर ऑप्शन सी होना चाहिए, which is correct. 65, which is not an eligibility criteria for appointment as a judge of the High Court. Must have been a High Court judge for at least 5 years. इसमें तो क्या ही डिस्कस करें, नहीं? हाई कोर्ट जज बनने का एलिजिबिलिटी हाई कोर्ट जज 5 साल तक होना चाहिए, तो हो ही नहीं सकता ना. Even if you don't know the answer, by deductive logic you can see that the answer is option A. 65 में eligibility for high court judge cannot be that you were already a high court judge for 5 years. The chief justice of a high court is appointed by the president in consultation with whom? Okay, the chief justice of the Supreme Court, yes, of course. Former chief justice, no. Other judges, no. Governor also is involved. The governor also is involved. So the better answer would be 1 and 4, option C. Option C has to be that consultation बस करना है. Again, governor का opinion binding नहीं है, but consultation is important, right? Consultation is important. Okay. Actus non facit reum nisi mens sit rea. What does this mean? What is this principle? सुना है, पता है? This is basically option A is clearly the correct answer. An act does not make a person guilty. Actus non facit reum. That is, an act itself will not make you guilty unless mens sit rea, unless you have mens sit rea. Without mens rea, without guilty intention, you cannot be liable, right? So question number 67, simple explanation. Option A is the correct answer. 68. What is the literal meaning of out punere, out dedere? What is the meaning? Either be punished or surrender the accused. It is literally option A. Either be punished or surrender the accused or the offender or the guilty or whoever that person is. दोनों में से एक करना पड़ेगा, या तो guilty या तो innocent करके हम आगे बढ़े, उसको छोड़ दें, जीवन जीने दें, या तो जेल में डाल दें, right? 68 option A. 69. Which of the following cases the Supreme Court held that there is no moral, fundamental or legal rights or equitable jurisdiction to go on strike? हाँ, strike नहीं कर सकते, fundamental right to strike नहीं है. Very very famous case, that is the T.K. Rangarajan case. You should remember, right to strike does not exist according to the T.K. Rangarajan versus Government of Tamil Nadu case. Very very famous case. इसी के लिए ही famous है कि भाई right to strike does not exist, right? Question number 70. In which of the following famous cases the Supreme Court said the President means for all practical purposes the Prime Minister or Council of Ministers, and his opinion, satisfaction or decision is constitutionally secured when the minister arrives at such opinion, satisfaction or decision? This is Ram Kapoor versus State of Punjab. Presidential limitation के बारे में, right? So if you look at the provisions of the Constitution, particularly Article 70 onwards मिलेगा 74, 75 में, that the President shall act in accordance with the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, right? So one of the most famous cases regarding this explanation is the Ram Kapoor or the Ram Javaya Kapoor case versus State of Punjab, right? Where this case, this idea of presidential accountability and advice of the minister, etc., Council of Ministers, was discussed in detail, right? Who can be appointed as chairman of the NHRC? Chairman of the NHRC has to be a former Chief Justice of India, has to be a former CJI ही होना पड़ेगा, former Judge of Supreme Court नहीं हो सकता, right? So any retired Chief Justice means former Chief Justice. So 71, obviously the answer is option D, Delhi, right? Chairman of NHRC. Okay, which of the following landmark judgments it was held that the prisoners are entitled to rights under 14, 19 and 21? Golden Triangle Doctrine came in the Menaka Gandhi case, of course, but prisoner rights की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे, golden triangle की बात नहीं हो रही है. This is about prisoner rights, and of course prisoner rights का Nandini Satpathy is one of the landmark cases amongst so many other cases. Answer दिया नहीं है इसमें, but answer should be option B. Answer is probably not printed here. Answer should be option B in my opinion, but I'll just check one more time because now I'm feeling like answer क्यों नहीं दिया है, क्या हो गया. Okay, let's see. Anyway, question number 73. It is the fundamental right of the consumers to know whether the food products, cosmetics and drugs are of non-vegetarian or vegetarian origin. Okay. Otherwise it will violate their fundamental rights under 19, 21 and 25. Doesn't sound like I'll be able to answer this question. This observation is related to which of the following cases? K. Vikas Deshpande. TMA Pi Foundation is about reservation in India. So TMA Pi तो पक्का नहीं है. Option C तो हो ही नहीं सकता. If I had to guess, I would probably guess option A because it involves an Islamic person, which means halal food hai ki nahi, non-halal food hai ki nahi is probably, particularly because Article 25 is also relevant here, right? Article 25 is right to religion. So it sounds like it will probably be a religious based issue, and उसमें veg non-veg तक तो समझ में आता है, but even halal and non-halal and those kind of categorizations usually happen if there is a person from Islamic faith that is involved. So if I had to guess, I'd probably mark option A, but between A and B I honestly between A and B it has to be option A. It has to be option A क्योंकि B में विकास देशपांडे वर्सेस बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया है. तो अब ये बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के अगेंस्ट खाने का केस तो नहीं हुआ होगा ना, कि खाने में क्या है क्या नहीं है. दिस कैनॉट बी अ केस अगेंस्ट बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया. दिस मस्ट बी अ केस अगेंस्ट ईदर यूनियन और स्टेट. और सी जो ऑप्शन है वो तो गलत ही है. सो ऑप्शन ए. डैम, बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया पहले देख लिया होता तो कॉन्फिडेंटली, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंटली ऑप्शन ए बोल दिया होता. यू सी हाउ आई एम गोइंग थ्रू in terms of guessing a particular answer also. I hope you guys are picking up that thought process also. See, होगा ना, जैसे इसमें मुझे एग्जैक्ट श्योर नहीं था, लेकिन चलो टीएमए पाई पता था. अब जब टीएमए पाई पता था बचे ही दो ऑप्शन. आई शुड हैव बीन फास्टर देन दिस कि मैं बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया है तो बी तो वैसे भी नहीं हो सकता, राइट? सो प्लीज try to keep a track of this process of how I'm eliminating options as well, right? Okay, so 73, even if I was not 100% sure, we still managed the right answer. 74, who is the current chairperson? Okay, I don't know actually. So let's just look at the action. Why do we need to guess here also? Cannot be Sheila Dikshit, that much I know, but between the other three options I have no idea. So ये वाला question तो मैं छोड़ के ही आता. But what is the answer? Okay, Priyank Kanungo is the current chairperson of the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Okay, but again over the next 5 months maybe this person can retire or not retire. So एक बार finally, about 2 weeks before your exam, June 1st के around, एक बार ये सब positions check कर लेना चाहिए. Who is the current chairperson of the NHRC? That is Justice Dattu. That at least the last one that I knew was Justice HL Dattu. So out of the options, it is definitely HL Dattu. Okay, what is the answer given? Okay, it's option B. 76. Stare decisis. Stare decisis. The decision stares at the judge. इस टाइप के ऑप्शंस, लेजेंडरी वाले ऑप्शंस. तो आई लव डूइंग लीगल रीजनिंग एंड लीगल जीके क्वेश्चंस simply because of options like this. The decision will stare at the judge. Damn. Stare decisis means binding precedents, right? That an order of a superior court etc will be binding, right? What option can we make? Precedents possess law quality in themselves and are binding. Decision of the High Court is law even though it is not binding. So okay, every decision should be based on principle of natural justice. That's not stare decisis. Option B, 76, option B, Bombay will be the right answer. Answer given is C. Decision of the High Court is law even though no. I think there is a slight mistake in the answer given here. Question number 76, the answer should be option B, Bombay. Question number 76, let me just change this. I'm sure the answer is incorrect here. Here the answer has to be option B, Bombay, right? 76 answer should be option B. This is more correct. Okay, 77, breach of contract is a civil wrong. Yeah, of course it is. And then it is redressable by an action for Okay, for both liquidated as well as unliquidated damages would be the correct answer, because sometimes the contract may not have specific. Usually it is liquidated because contract में ही लिखा होता है, right? But sometimes it can include both liquidated as well as unliquidated damages. So again, I think the answer should be option C probably is the better answer. Otherwise A. So what's the answer given? B. B. No man. Okay. Is there some printing error somewhere? Have they probably there's a mix up in slides. Okay, I'm definitely going to mark option C here. Unliquidated damages is for tort law. Unliquidated damages, please remember, unliquidated damages is particularly relevant for tort law. Contract law usually liquidated, but both liquidated and unliquidated हो सकता है. So it's not. अगर choose भी करना होता तो हम A choose करते, right? But C दिया है तो it's slightly better answer. That's the idea. They mixed the option of B 76 and 77. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, no? यहाँ पे C लिखा हो तो हमें हाँ probably that makes sense. Okay, which of the following is an IPR law? All of the above. 78 is clearly all of the above होना चाहिए. Copyright Act and Design Act सब कुछ तो है ही है. That's fine, right? So all of the above is definitely correct. 79. Which of the following is the first known legislation to protect intellectual property rights in the world? पूरी दुनिया में IPR पहली बार का प्रोटेक्ट हुआ. I know one of the most famous monopolies law, it definitely exists, which is 1624. Right now, did it cover? I'm just trying to recollect. Oh yeah, it did cover, because you cannot be there were aspects of trademark law which were definitely there. So now if I had to choose 79 C would be the better answer. अब उससे पहले तो कोई law definitely नहीं था. The statute of monopolies, which primarily dealt with competition law aspects, right? कि dominant position नहीं होना चाहिए, ये नहीं वो नहीं, but yeah, it had aspects of IPR as well, right? Okay, which convention was held for the protection of literary and artistic work? This is in relation to primarily copyright law, and the most famous convention is the Berne Convention, right? Option B, Bombay, is the correct answer. Okay, last 10 questions. Everybody's ready to finish it off and knock it out of the park. Are we? We are 2 hours and 45 minutes and we're down to the last 10 questions. In which year the national IPR policy was launched? अभी बहुत recently हुआ है. It is the Modi government. In 2016 the national IPR policy was launched, right? Okay, the book World of Human Rights, very famous book, written by the former Attorney General and also the father of one of the most famous corporate lawyers today, called Zia Modi. इस hint के बाद कोई बता सकता है who is the father of Zia Modi? Zia Modi is the managing partner of this law firm called AZB Partners. AZB में Z is Zia Modi. So I used to work with one of her top competitors in Amarchand Mangaldas, that is run by the Shroffs, Cyril Shroff and Shardul Shroff. Zia Modi's father is, or whatever, Zia Modi is the daughter of Soli Jahangir Sorabji, Soli J Sorabji, Soli Sorabji. Okay, former Attorney General as well, one of the most famous lawyers in India. What was the first international document to define all people's rights? That is obviously the UDHR. The UDHR, Magna Carta वगैरह अलग से दिया होता तो बात अलग थी. But if we're talking about recent times and so on, it is of course the UDHR. In 1948, the UDHR came, and the UDHR means the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, right? Option A is of course the correct answer. 84. The first country to abolish capital punishment is also one of the countries which has the highest ratio of Miss Universes and Miss Worlds in planet Earth or on planet Earth in the world or whatever. That's actually the kingdom of, or the Republic of Venezuela. Became the first country to abolish capital punishment. Okay, 85. Which of the following organizations was established in 1945? 1945, that is okay, World War ho gaya. To settle disputes, submitting to it by states and giving advisory opinions. Okay, this is the ICJ. This is of course the International Court of Justice, which is also known as the Peace Palace, and it is located at The Hague in Netherlands. It is the principal judicial organ of the United Nations, right? So UN Charter का साथ में ही ICJ का statute भी आता है, and that's the correct answer. Okay, last 5. अच्छा, मैग्ना कार्टा के बारे में भी question है. One of the oldest laws. Who wrote the damn Magna Carta, which is one of the oldest laws in the world? Right? Or the oldest law is probably Manusmriti, etc. So many discussions in and around it. Magna Carta is 13th century AD, 12th century AD type ka. The correct answer, of course, is King John was the king of England at that time, and he was responsible. Which year exact? किसी को पता है? 1200 what? Consider the following statements with regard to the Magna Carta. Consider the following statement. चलो consider करते हैं. Magna Carta was originally written in Latin, so which is true. Magna Carta protects the right of all free men. Also true. The original Magna Carta had 63 clauses. Seems to be true. I am not sure. कितने clauses थे? 50 plus तो थे. अब exact 63 थे कि 62 थे, ऐसे नहीं याद है मुझे. Okay, let's look at the options. Which of the following statement is incorrect? One only. No, one तो incorrect नहीं है. One is correct. 2 and 3 both are incorrect. हो नहीं सकता because 2 is correct. 2 only is incorrect. नहीं हो सकता because 2 is also correct. Therefore, our answer is none of the above is incorrect. So Magna Carta originally had 63 clauses. अलग से याद भी रख सकते हो from this question itself, because we can derive that none of the above is incorrect. All 3 statements are correct here. Okay. Which of the following agreement replaced the Kyoto Protocol? Kyoto Protocol is about climate change. Climate change का accord था, जापान में Kyoto है. Kyoto Protocol replace कौन किया है? Paris Agreement on Climate Change. The Paris Convention on Climate Change is has the one that has replaced the Kyoto Protocol, substituted and superseded the Kyoto Agreement. Kyoto Agreement नहीं है, उसको Kyoto Protocol ही बोलते हैं. Question में गलत लिखा, ऐसा ही लिखा है, option में थोड़ा सा. Okay, 89. Due to dash work in de jure belli et pacis, he is considered to be the founding father of modern international law. So this is the most foundational book, like Adam Smith's book on economics is the reason why he was known as the father of economics, right? Keynesian economics is macroeconomics, right? De jure belli ac pacis is basically the foundational and the first book on modern international law, which was obviously written by Hugo Grotius, who is also known as the father of modern international law. Option B, Bombay, is the right answer. Who wrote the book Supreme but Not Infallible? One of the most famous judges, subsequently, is book was written by Ashok Desai ji. Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Hari Salve, I think post-retirement they'll also write their own books. Not yet though, they still write legal books but not these kind of things. Anyway, Supreme but Not Infallible is of course Mr. Ashok Desai. And with that, I believe we are done with our marathon 90 questions with 6 minutes to spare. And I think first of all, before I make any further announcements, I want to congratulate all of you for sincerely being able to be here till the very goddamn end. And I hope this has been a marathon which has been helpful to all of you as well. Right, so that's all the questions for the day. Do remember to enroll using the RDay code. At the end of the day, this is the last day that you have the 40 plus 32% offer. We have some interesting upcoming courses. As you can see, the crash course, somebody was asking when is the booster course. It will start from 8th of February onwards. The booster courses for other things, other examinations, will start from the 12th of February onwards, and all of them are going to be 45 days each. Do reach out to the counselors if you have any questions. Thank you once again for being a very patient audience. Have a lovely, lovely night ahead of you. I will also go and simply pass out in the next 5 minutes. Good night, everyone. Bye bye.